Kelly Krauskopf, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you were perfectly fine when Fever fans were bending over, kissing your ass, applauding your decisions, you better stand here and take it when Fever fans are pissed off, upset, and are voicing their displeasures. If our voice mattered that much then, you best believe it matters that much now.
All right, so picture this for a second. The president of the Indiana Fever, in what can only be described as a truly head-scratching move, recently decided to drop some absolutely bombshell comments concerning none other than the phenom herself, Caitlin Clark. And let me tell you, the fallout, the entire basketball world, from die-hard fans to seasoned analysts, has been absolutely buzzing, and not in a good way. I mean, seriously, when you as an organization's leader attempt to downplay or even subtly minimize the monumental importance of your franchise player, the very individual who is the why behind everything you do, the primary engine of your entire operation, you are, without a shadow of a doubt, basically just begging for trouble. And what happened next? The response? Oh, it was swift, it was severe, and in a deeply ironic, almost karmic twist, it genuinely felt like destiny, like the universe itself just stepped in to deliver a much-needed reminder about who the true driving force, the undeniable leader, really is here. The ripple effects, the far-reaching ramifications of this colossal blunder are frankly becoming genuinely beyond absurd. It really makes you pause and wonder, doesn't it? What in the world do these high-level organizations truly believe is going to happen when they actively try to dim the radiant, undeniable light of their brightest, most impactful stars? It's a question that demands a serious answer because the consequences are clearly already in motion.
Fever brand is going to get as big and go as far as Caitlin Clark takes it. And I don't think Kelly Krauskopf understands that. And the latest video that is surfacing, floating around, being consumed by Fever fans across the globe, because this is an international superstar they have on their hands. This may have been the straw that...
This entire situation truly feels like the straw that finally broke the camel's back, a moment of profound misjudgment. And honestly, here's what's truly mind-boggling, almost unbelievable about this whole mess. Based on the palpable reactions we're seeing from both the players and the staff within the Fever organization, it genuinely seems like someone at the very top, within their inner circle, actually believed this misguided strategy would somehow fly. I mean, seriously, think about it. Who in their right mind greenlights and records a detailed discussion about their intended brand development, a brand they explicitly state is supposedly more than just Caitlin Clark, and then proceeds to think, yeah, this is a terrific idea, let's put this out there. Because let's be brutally real for a moment. Absolutely nothing screams brilliant business strategy quite like publicly denigrating, or at the very least, downplaying, the invaluable contributions of the very individual who, let's be completely honest, single-handedly pulled your entire franchise from the brink of absolute, utter irrelevance. Right? It's almost comically misguided when the Fever's leadership, and I'm truly using that term very loosely here, purely out of professional courtesy, started spouting off about building this long-lasting, sustainable brand, even going so far as to draw a bizarre comparison a la Apple. Their underlying unspoken message was painfully clear. Caitlin Clark's monumental role, apparently, is merely to help them prove that they don't want to lean too heavily on their core players. You know, because is just so incredibly concerned about their group of fundamental players, which, by the way, is nothing more than thinly veiled corporate jargon for, we don't want to admit that one transcendent person, one singular superstar, made all the difference, and essentially resurrected our entire operation. It's a profound misunderstanding of their own reality.
That we want to sustain the growth and the interest level in the franchise. I mean, this is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader in the country, and a brand, an enduring brand, like Apple or something. I mean, we have a real opportunity here.
Now, let me just take a moment to really break down for you exactly how unbelievably jaw-droppingly tone-deaf these now infamous remarks truly were. It's beyond astonishing, almost unbelievable in its sheer lack of self-awareness. This executive, with what seems like a baffling disregard for common sense, essentially waltzed right out there, directly into the swirling social media firestorm, and confidently proclaimed to the loyal fan base, "Hey, we want to keep this franchise absolutely soaring, growing and buzzing with unparalleled enthusiasm." But then, in the very next breath, in a move that defied all logic, they were simultaneously implying that Caitlin Clark, the singular, undeniable reason for that unprecedented growth, that explosive interest, and that genuine enthusiasm, somehow shouldn't take precedence, shouldn't be the focal point. Think about it this way, it's precisely like McDonald's suddenly making a grand declaration that they want to be recognized for more than just hamburgers. But then in a bizarre twist, they deliberately start trying to hide their most iconic, best-selling product, the Big Mac. I mean, come on, that's just absurd, right? And naturally, as you would expect when an organization so brazenly, so outwardly disrespects the intelligence and passion of its devoted fan base, the reaction was not just swift, it was an absolute tidal wave. Social media platforms, the very heartbeat of modern sports engagement, absolutely exploded with users. They were collectively screaming at the corporation, unequivocally calling them out for being completely, utterly detached from the reality of their own success. And honestly, they absolutely unequivocally deserved every single bit of that verbal lashing. Every critique, every angry tweet, every frustrated post they truly did achieve something significant with those comments. But let's be crystal clear, it was probably, almost certainly, the exact opposite of what they actually intended to accomplish.
This isn't the NFL. This is the WNBA. A star is going to take the Fever where the Fever want to go. And that star is Caitlin Clark. Kelly, you're talking about being a leading brand. You're talking about sustaining growth, sustaining the interest level in the franchise. You know how that happens? Is if Caitlin Clark stays in Indiana, is if Caitlin Clark is participating in an entertaining and exciting brand of basketball that doesn't take away and diminish her skill sets, that doesn't turn off fans that have been following her for the last 3 to 5 years.
Now let's be absolutely real for a moment. These supposedly intelligent business people at the Fever organization genuinely appear to have developed a severe, almost debilitating case of corporate amnesia. Think back to a time before Caitlin Clark ever graced their court. On a really good night maybe, and I mean maybe, 4,000 people were tuning into a Fever game. Their TV ratings, they were so abysmal, so utterly low, that few, if any, even bothered to sign up for anything remotely related to the team. In the entire sprawling universe of professional sports, the Indiana Fever were, quite frankly, an unknown entity, a blank, forgettable slate. But then, as if by magic, Caitlin Clark shows up. And suddenly, they're selling out arenas faster than you can blink, smashing attendance records left and right, and becoming a hot, central topic in national conversations. This isn't just good, this is absolutely huge. A seismic shift. Yet, in their infinite, shall we say, wisdom, they actually seem to genuinely believe this unprecedented surge happened because of their amazing pre-existing organizational structure. No, let's be clear. They've been handed a generational gift, a once-in-a-lifetime player who makes people genuinely want to watch basketball. This profound delusion, this baffling illusion, is utterly crumbling before our very eyes. The comparison they dared to make to Apple, honestly, it's laugh out loud, hilarious. Apple revolutionized everything by meticulously building their entire brand around innovative, game-changing products. They never ever tried to downplay the iPhone or pretend the iPad wasn't a monumental deal. Instead, they embraced their groundbreaking inventions, celebrated them, and built an empire around their undeniable success. And that, my friends, is exactly what the Fever should be doing. Right here, history, after all, is absolutely full of incredibly lucrative franchises that have revolved entirely around their transcendent stars. You don't get a Michael Jordan and then try to minimize his earth-shattering influence, you construct your entire business model around maximizing his unparalleled, God-given potential. You don't get a Magic Johnson and then pretend the Lakers would be just as popular, just as iconic without him. The Lakers didn't accidentally invent Showtime, and it was certainly no coincidence that the Bulls became a global phenomenon. These defining, culture-shifting moments happened because smart organizations recognized they had special, once-in-a-lifetime players, and then they had the strategic foresight to build their entire identity around showcasing those extraordinary skills. Yet instead of wholeheartedly celebrating this monumental, unforeseen win, it appears the Fever's collective brain trust completely disregarded that memo. They struck lottery gold with Caitlin Clark, the kind of luck most franchises only dream of, and instead, they seem to be more preoccupied with allocating the wealth and ensuring everyone gets their shot. They don't seem nearly as concerned with actually winning championships as they are with managing potential hurt feelings, and let's not even get started on the truly baffling timing of these comments, which only amplifies their inherent absurdity. This entire debacle, this public relations nightmare, unfolded right after we'd all been watching Caitlin visibly struggling within a system that appears almost specifically designed to underutilize her incredible, unique abilities. We've seen her fighting tooth and nail to create scoring opportunities, dealing with teammates who aren't consistently making the right passes, and playing within an offensive scheme that seems almost prearranged to lessen her legendary effectiveness. So, what do they do when their superstar is already facing these immense challenges? What do they do when loyal supporters are already irritated and frustrated with the organization's management? It's like they're intentionally pouring gasoline on a raging, uncontrolled fire. They hit the public with comments that essentially confirm everyone's absolute worst fears about their true, underlying priorities. The retaliation was immediate, it was brutal, and it was entirely deserved. Fans instantly started questioning the organization's real commitment to winning, and whispers almost immediately began about Caitlin's potential future elsewhere, once her contract status would finally allow it. That, my friends, is the exact opposite of what you want when you're desperately trying to build an enduring championship-level brand. Wouldn't you agree? And here's the worst, most concerning part of it all. Fans have every single right to be worried. If this organization doesn't unequivocally demonstrate a profound, tangible commitment to success, to building a winning team around her, Caitlin Clark is simply not going to stick around forever. She's far too talented, far too competitive, far too driven to waste her prime years patiently waiting for a corporation that clearly, tragically, doesn't appreciate its most valuable asset. The comparison with other major sports markets is particularly telling here. What genuinely would happen if a player of Caitlin Clark's unparalleled caliber were dealing with this level of organizational dysfunction and outright misstep in, say, Boston or New York? Sports radio would absolutely decimate daily management. There would be relentless, ongoing pressure from every angle and immediate vociferous demands for sweeping, fundamental change. But here in Indianapolis, they seem to operate under the misguided assumption that they can get away with this kind of backward thinking simply because of their market size, which is precisely the kind of self-fulfilling prophecy that will prevent them from ever truly attracting and keeping global attention. The ultimate irony, the tragic twist in this entire saga, is that in a desperate, deeply misguided effort to protect themselves from becoming overly dependent on Caitlin Clark, they are in fact dramatically increasing their risk of losing her entirely. When you fail to truly, genuinely value everything you possess, you inevitably create the very conditions that make that asset incredibly attractive and readily available to other savvier companies, other franchises who absolutely know how to act, how to build. And trust me, there are countless franchises out there that would be absolutely thrilled, beyond ecstatic, to welcome Caitlin Clark with wide open arms, ready to build their entire brand around her undeniable, magnetic star power, embracing her fame, amplifying it, rather than trying to stifle it for the sake of making everyone else feel relaxed and included. The profound irony, the inescapable karma in this whole situation, is that instead of projecting an image of a well-run, forward-thinking business, their comments instantly ignited the exact kind of widespread disagreement, controversy, and stinging criticism they were most likely desperately trying to avoid. They come across not as visionary leadership with well-balanced priorities, but as astonishingly tone-deaf CEOs who utterly fail to grasp their own company's fundamental strategic plan. That, I believe, is probably the most accurate, unfiltered assessment of what truly went down here. Some individuals are incredibly blessed with phenomenal, once-in-a-generation talent, but the people managing them simply don't fully understand why they're successful. They mistakenly believe their achievements can be easily replicated without the unique, transcendent person who made them happen. And very soon, if they don't pivot dramatically, they are going to learn a painfully expensive lesson about the harsh, unforgiving realities of professional sports. When you minimize your team's most publicly relevant, most impactful player. Consequently, do not be surprised, not one bit, when the entire basketball community, the entire sports world, calls you out for it with an unmatched ferocity. The Fever's leadership just learned this lesson the hardest, most public way possible. So, what are your thoughts on this unfolding drama? Please, let me know in the comments below if you think companies ever try to diminish or minimize their biggest celebrity draws. If you genuinely enjoyed this candid take that truly breaks through all the corporate heat and spin, make sure to click that like button right now. And definitely hit subscribe to join our growing community, especially as this entire captivating situation reaches its absolute boiling point. One undeniable truth rises powerfully, unmistakably, above all the noise and controversy. We are currently witnessing a defining moment that will echo far, far beyond a single press conference, a single offhand, ill-advised comment, or even a single executive decision. This isn't just about one team, one confused executive, or even one generational superstar. No, this is about the fundamental, long-term direction of an entire franchise, the deeply held expectations of millions of passionate, invested fans, and the almost overwhelming responsibility that comes with leading an organization standing squarely at the absolute center of the basketball world. Because when the spotlight is this incredibly bright, when the world is watching this closely, every single choice, every statement becomes a profound declaration, and every declaration, my friends, inevitably becomes an irreversible turning point. Fans today are more connected, more informed, and more passionately invested than perhaps ever before in the history of sport. They know the history, they've seen the numbers, and they intuitively understand the invaluable, irreplaceable worth of the players who tirelessly carry this game forward. Day in and day out, they celebrate excellence with an unmatched ferocity. They fiercely defend what they truly believe in, and they will absolutely raise their collective voices when something just feels fundamentally, unequivocally wrong, and in moments like this, those powerful, resonating voices don't erupt from anger alone. No, they stem from unwavering loyalty, from deep personal investment, and from the genuine heartfelt desire to see the team they cherish, the players they root for, reach its absolute fullest, most glorious potential. The fans aren't just mere observers anymore. They are the true stakeholders. They are the very heartbeat of this entire sport, and when they speak, the world listens. That, my friends, is why this particular moment is so profoundly defined, so critically important, because at the very core of it all stands a franchise desperately navigating unprecedented, intense pressure, a fan base emphatically demanding clarity and transparency, and a superstar whose colossal, transformative influence has utterly reshaped not only a single team, but the entire landscape of the league around it. That kind of impact, that kind of magnetic star power, is incredibly rare, almost mythical. That kind of presence is generational, a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. And that kind of overwhelming, undeniable momentum simply doesn't happen by accident. It happens when raw, transcendent talent, immense, perfectly timed opportunity, and global, inescapable attention spectacularly collide in a way that literally changes everything you thought you knew. When you have a player who single-handedly brings millions of new eyes to the game, consistently skyrockets ratings, effortlessly fills arenas, and inspires an entire new wave of fans, you are not merely managing a roster. You are in essence, truly stewarding a global movement. This is precisely why the next chapter here matters so much, perhaps more than any other. Because the crucial defining decisions made today will unequivocally define the tone, the very essence of this franchise tomorrow. They will determine whether this organization courageously rises to meet this monumental, historic moment head-on, or tragically lets it slip away entirely, becoming a cautionary tale. Championship-level teams, throughout history, have always understood one profoundly simple, unwavering truth. Great organizations do not fight their momentum. They strategically intelligently build on it. They never dim the radiant light of their stars. They wholeheartedly elevate and amplify them. They don't cowardly run from pressure. They passionately, relentlessly grow under it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what definitively separates strong, visionary leadership from confused, uncertain, and ultimately ineffective leadership. And it's what ultimately separates long-term, sustained success from tragically missed opportunity. And beyond all the statements, the reactions, and the heated debate lies a much, much bigger, more pivotal question: where in the world does this team go from here? Because the world isn't just watching what was said, they are intently, eagerly watching what happens now. Will the franchise finally, genuinely embrace the incredible opportunity right in front of them? Will they diligently strengthen the invaluable bond with their dedicated, passionate fan base? Will they courageously anchor their entire identity, their future, around the phenomenal talent that has already irrevocably changed everything for them? Or will uncertainty, coupled with mixed, contradictory messaging, create irreparable cracks that the basketball world will continue to relentlessly question, dissect, and scrutinize? What happens next won't just shape future headlines. It will fundamentally shape trust. It will shape the very culture of the organization. It will shape the way other players view the franchise, the way fans passionately show their support, and the way the team ultimately positions itself for the future. It will absolutely determine whether this becomes an inspiring story of unprecedented growth and triumph, or a cautionary tale of squandered, almost unbelievable potential. And that, my friends, is why every single move from this moment forward carries immense, immeasurable weight. But one thing, I promise you, is undeniably true. The fans are awake, the world is profoundly engaged, and the conversation is louder, more urgent, more critical than ever before. This pivotal moment has sparked a reaction, a critical dialogue, a fire that simply will not fade quietly into the night. And whether this becomes a powerful turning point toward unity and triumph, or a stark, sobering warning sign of much deeper systemic issues, depends entirely on what this organization bravely, decisively chooses to do next. Because momentum, my friends, is an incredibly powerful, double-edged sword. It can lift you higher than you ever dared to imagine, to unforeseen heights of glory, or it can vanish before you even truly realize it's gone, leaving you with nothing. So as we move forward together, stay tuned, stay alert, and absolutely stay connected, because this story, I assure you, is nowhere near finished. In fact, it's truly just beginning. The next statement, the next decision, the next season, each one will dramatically reveal exactly where this franchise truly stands and what kind of enduring identity they are genuinely ready to build. And believe me when I say this, the basketball world will absolutely remember how this defining moment was handled. They will remember who listened, who adapted, and who fearlessly rose to the monumental benefit. This is bigger than a fleeting headline, bigger than a controversial quote, bigger than a single, isolated controversy. This, my friends, is a fundamental crossroads, a moment where everything that happens next will irrevocably shape the legacy of this franchise for years and years to come. And trust me, the next chapter is going to be incredibly powerful, so make sure you're right here for it. Make sure you don't miss what comes next, because if you thought things were intense now, just you wait. The real story is still unfolding, and the very next move, that's the move that will ultimately change everything.